Beloved one, this is not just another video, this is not content, this is not entertainment, this is a divine alarm, and it's ringing for you. You've felt it lately, haven't you? That unshakable feeling, that heaviness in the room that wasn't there yesterday? That lingering thought, was something moved? You try to brush it off. You tell yourself, I'm just tired, it's nothing. But it's not nothing. Something has shifted. And the shift is not in your head, it's in your spirit. And your spirit is far more intelligent than the noise around you gives it credit for. Heaven sees everything, and heaven is speaking now, not in riddles, not in whispers, but in the language of urgency. Archangel Michael has stepped forward, not gently but with the full force of divine authority, to say, you must listen, and you must not delay, because this is not just a moment, it is your moment. There is an intruder, not necessarily one that kicks down doors, not one who shouts. No, this one moves in silence. This one enters when you're away, or worse. When you're distracted, they walk through the same hallway you walk. They stand where you pray, and though their feet are real, their intentions are spiritual. They are not just curious, they are assigned. You've felt it, that low hum of anxiety when you return home, that shift in energy when you pass your bedroom door, that pause before you turn the key. You thought it was just you, but what if it wasn't? What if that pause was the Holy Spirit trying to speak? What if the air itself has been trying to warn you? You didn't imagine it, and that's why this message found you. Because the next few minutes are not about fear, they're about clarity. And once clarity enters, confusion loses its grip. There is an energy in your space that doesn't belong there. There is a presence. It may not leave fingerprints, but it leaves residue. It touches your peace. It thins the veil. It unsettles. What was once sacred, it doesn't shout, it drains. Slowly, silently, and it wants you distracted long enough to take something valuable. Not just items, but something deeper. Your focus, your spiritual discernment, your alignment with what heaven is preparing. They don't need to rob you in plain sight. They only need you spiritually asleep. But today, you are waking up. Archangel Michael says, you were chosen to hear this, because the battle reached your threshold, and heaven will not remain silent. This is your call to attention. This is your line in the sand. You are not helpless. You are not crazy. You are not imagining these things. You are under surveillance. But not the kind the world understands. This is spiritual surveillance, and it pretends to be casual, but it's precise, cold, calculated. It disguises itself as friendliness, but its core is manipulation, and it has crossed a line. Ask yourself, why? Have you felt so tired even after sleeping? Why does your favorite room no longer feel the same? Why do certain objects feel off when you touch them? And deeper still, why did someone you barely know ask such personal questions recently? Why did someone from the past suddenly start showing up again, as if on cue, because something was released into your space, not just physically, but spiritually, and if you don't stop it now, it won't stop itself. Beloved soul of light, this message is a barrier breaker. It is a sword through confusion. It is a spotlight on the shadows, and heaven is telling you, you have tolerated enough. You have been silent too long. And now your spirit is being reawakened. This is not just about the physical house you live in. This is about your anointing, your purpose, your destiny. Because if they can't break your walls, they'll try to weaken your spirit. And if they can't take what's visible, they'll go after what's spiritual. But Michael says, not on my watch, not when you're listening, not when you're claiming your space back. So here's what you need to know. There is something inside your home that was placed there by another. Maybe a borrowed item, maybe a gift, maybe something that seemed harmless, but it was not sent in innocence. And it's carrying something, an energy, a fingerprint, a trace of something darker. You must find it, remove it, destroy it. Do not rationalize it, do not call it silly. This is spiritual warfare, and your house is not a battlefield. It is a sanctuary. Michael says, speak up, not in your mind, but with your mouth. Your voice carries divine power. Speak the word, speak protection, speak ownership over your atmosphere. Say it out loud. My home belongs to the Lord. My peace is not negotiable. My space is sacred. This declaration shifts the atmosphere. It burns through what was planted. It cleanses what was left behind. It announces to heaven and to the unseen that you are not asleep anymore. If you're still watching, that means the message reached the right heart. And if your heart is pounding, that's not fear. That's truth finding its way through. You were not meant to live in confusion. You were meant to live with clarity, discernment, and authority. And this, right here, right now, is where that begins. Beloved one, I need you to pause and breathe, because what I'm about to reveal is not meant to frighten you. It's meant to free you. You've already sensed the presence. You've already felt the shift. But what you didn't know is that the door wasn't opened by a stranger. It was opened by someone familiar, someone who smiled in your direction, someone who asked you how your day was, someone who may have touched your belongings in innocence, or so it seemed. But the energy they carried was not innocent, and the access they gave, knowingly or unknowingly, became a spiritual invitation. Michael says, not every open door looks like rebellion. Sometimes it looks like misplaced trust. You didn't see it coming because you have always tried to see the good. You've given second chances. You've overlooked the unease. But now heaven is uncovering what your heart refused to believe. Not because you're weak, but because you are pure, because you hoped they wouldn't turn on you, because you believed the love you gave would protect the space you shared. But protection, beloved, doesn't come from hope alone. It comes from discernment. And today, your discernment is being restored. There's a reason you've been feeling more tired when certain people visit. There's a reason your mood shifts the moment they leave. And there's a reason you've started questioning your own instincts. Michael says their footsteps carried more than just presence. They carried intention, and intention leaves a residue. Some call it bad vibes, some call it energy, but heaven calls it what it truly is, a spiritual trail, and that trail was designed to lead deeper into your life. Let me ask you, why does that one friend ask such specific questions about your home? Why did someone gift you something small, but you keep feeling strange when you pass by it? Why does your spirit resist when they say, I just wanted to check in? Because they are not the only one watching you. They may not even realize it. But they are a channel, and what they've brought in with them has not yet left. Michael says, you are not under attack because of weakness. You are under attack because of greatness. The enemy doesn't waste time on what is empty. They target what is sacred. Your space is sacred. Your time is sacred. Your calling is sacred, and that's what makes it a threat to darkness. This person, the one who's been around you lately, has shared details about your life with someone else. They didn't mean harm, perhaps, but their mouth became a messenger, and the wrong ears heard what they should have never known. That's how it began. A word, a story, a detail about your routine. When you're home, when you're not. What door creaks, what window you leave cracked, it sounds harmless. But it was all the enemy needed. You see, spiritual warfare rarely announces itself with noise. It moves in whispers, it moves in patterns, it waits, and it uses familiarity to slip past your guard. Michael says, you felt it, but you dismissed it. You called it paranoia, but it was your spirit sounding the alarm. Today, that alarm is no longer internal. Today, heaven is sounding the trumpet over your life. And what's been hidden must now be exposed. Let's go deeper. Have you noticed strange dreams? Have you woken up at 3 a.m. without reason, heart racing, mind alert? That wasn't random. That was your soul responding to movement in the spiritual realm. Movement near you, inside. Your home, around your energy. Someone brought something in, an object, a word, a presence. And now your sanctuary is no longer silent. There are signs you may have missed. Your favorite corner no longer feels peaceful. Your prayers feel blocked. Certain rooms carry a weight that didn't exist before. These are not coincidences. They are spiritual fingerprints. The enemy has been trespassing, and you, child of light edge, are being called to take your space back. Michael says, do not confront them with suspicion. Confront this with authority. This is not about starting a fight. This is about reclaiming your atmosphere, your walls, your peace, your rhythm, and that begins with this. Cleanse. Cleanse your home, not just physically, but spiritually. Walk through every room and speak aloud what you believe. Declare, this space is holy. No darkness can remain, no curse can stand. Anoint your doorframes, pray over your windows, speak psalms, invoke protection, call on Archangel Michael. Say what needs to be said until the silence feels clean again. And while you do this, watch what happens. That item that never felt right will fall into view. That conversation you couldn't explain will now make sense. That visitor you once trusted will suddenly shift in your eyes. It is not because they are your enemy. It's because they were used. Michael says, some enemies do not know they are working for darkness, but ignorance does not equal innocence. That's why you were chosen to awaken, because the one with awareness is the one with authority. And now you see, you're not just clearing a house, you're restoring a spiritual altar, you're rededicating a holy ground, you're closing a door that should have never been opened, and when you do, heaven will respond. You will feel the lift. You will dream with clarity. You will sense protection moving like a veil over your space. Because the moment you act in faith, the atmosphere bends toward blessing, beloved one. What if I told you that something in your house right now does not belong there? Not because you didn't buy it, not because you don't remember where it came from, but because it carries a spiritual assignment. There is an object in your possession that was not sent with love, not wrapped in light, not innocent in intent. It may be small, it may be something you walk past every day, but its presence has allowed something else to enter behind it. A door was opened, and that item was the key. Michael says, not every attack comes with noise. Some come with gifts. Yes, gifts. An old book, a trinket from someone who visited just once. An item you found and felt strangely drawn to, even though it didn't fully make sense. It doesn't matter how it came in. What matters now is this. It's still there, and as long as it remains, your peace will not return. Let's go deeper. Have you noticed dreams turning darker? Strange noises that seem too soft to explain but too persistent to ignore. Sudden mood shifts when you sit in a certain room. This is not psychological, this is spiritual residue, and it is not your fault. It was planted, and heaven has waited patiently for you to recognize it. But now, waiting is no longer safe. There is an object in your home that has become a beacon, a calling card for energy that is not from God. A silent channel for surveillance, not through cameras, but through spiritual proximity. And as long as that object stays where it is, your atmosphere remains vulnerable. This is why the unrest hasn't stopped, why sleep feels shallow, why something feels off, even when everything looks fine, because what you're feeling is real. Michael says, there are items that anchor darkness. Remove the anchor, and the storm will subside. So here is your instruction. Look again. Look with spiritual eyes. Scan your space not with suspicion, but with discernment. What has felt strange lately? What object did someone else bring into your space, even casually? What thing do you avoid touching? What item pulls your energy down when you're near it? It could be anything. A framed photo, a carved figure, a bracelet, a book, a token from a trip you never truly enjoyed. It doesn't have to look evil, it only needs to carry intention. and if it was touched, spoken over, or handed off with the wrong spirit, then its presence alone is enough to invite the wrong things in. Michael says, do not delay. What you remove in obedience today will make room for restoration tomorrow. Let me be clear, this is not superstition, this is not paranoia, this is prophetic discernment. Heaven is showing you something because it wants you free, and what has been disturbing your peace will not stop until the object is removed and the space it occupied is reclaimed with authority. So what do you do? When you find it, and you will, do not just hide it. Do not give it away. Do not return it. Destroy it. Yes, destroy it. Speak over it. Break the tie. Cancel the intention. Burn it, if you must. And then speak the words that realign your space with light. Say aloud, whatever entered through this object, I break it now. You no longer have access to my home. This place belongs to the Lord. Michael says, when you remove what was sent against you, you make space for what heaven has prepared for you. And beloved, heaven has prepared something. You didn't come this far for nothing. You didn't find this message by accident. You didn't notice all those signs just to be left confused. There's a reason the light in that corner flickered. There's a reason you woke up feeling watched. There's a reason your prayers felt blocked in that one room. Heaven wasn't trying to scare you. Heaven was preparing you. Let's go even deeper. That object might not have arrived recently. It could have been there for months, even years. Sometimes the enemy hides things in the open, knowing you'll ignore it because it feels familiar. But what once felt harmless can become a spiritual liability if it was never consecrated. And right now, heaven is calling you to consecrate your space. Again, not out of fear, but out of ownership. You are not just a guest in your home. You are the authority in that space, and what you allow stays. But what you reject must flee. And here is the truth you've been waiting for. You are not just removing an object. You are disarming a curse. You are shutting down a spiritual assignment before it takes deeper root. You are taking back control of the atmosphere around you. And when you do, your sleep will change, your thoughts will clear, your strength will return, and your breakthrough will accelerate. Because what has been delayed was not denied. It was spiritually interrupted. But now the flow returns. Michael says, the moment you cleanse your home, heaven will fill the empty space with favor. This is not a metaphor. This is a movement. This is a divine moment, and it's yours. Beloved soul, this is the part you've been feeling in your bones, the part your spirit already tried to tell you, even when your mind wasn't ready to believe. You haven't been imagining it. You haven't been paranoid. You haven't been too sensitive. You've been watched, and now the watching has turned into movement. The footsteps you thought you heard, the eyes you felt on your back, the shift in energy just before you walked into the room. These were not fragments of an overactive mind. They were signals, and heaven is confirming now they've started stepping closer. Michael says, the stranger has crossed the boundary. And they're no longer just observing from afar. They know your patterns, they know your silence, they know what time you leave and when your light turns off. Not because you told them, but because someone close did. Let me be very clear. There is a person in your life right now, maybe someone you trusted, who has been talking too much, not maliciously, not with evil intent, but their tongue has become a trail, and that trail has led someone to your gate. You may already suspect who it is, the one who asks casual questions, the one who always notices too many details, the one who appears just as things begin to shift. Beloved, that is not coincidence. That is calculated alignment. Michael says, the enemy is strategic, and when they cannot access you directly, they use those around you as unknowing vessels. This is why you've been feeling confused. You love them, you care for them, you want to believe they're safe, but love does not replace discernment, and heaven is not asking you to condemn, only to recognize. There are 3 signs, beloved one, that someone has been standing too close. You feel unusually drained after speaking with them. You've noticed that things you never shared are now strangely known. Their presence makes your inner peace tremble. These aren't small signs. These are early warnings. And ignoring them doesn't make them go away. Let me ask you again, why does that one person always know when to show up, right when your guard is down? Why did your last 3 prayers feel blocked after they visited? Why does your intuition go silent when they're near, only to scream again once they leave? Beloved, your spirit has not been wrong. You've been watched, and the door is no longer just symbolic. They are circling your space. They are listening for weakness. They are measuring your stillness, and they intend to step in deeper. But hear this. Heaven is drawing a divine line around you, and Michael has taken his sword from its sheath. This is not a message of fear. This is a message of restoration. Because you are not helpless, you are not exposed. You are being guarded. Now listen closely. There are objects they have touched, things you held dear that now carry a spiritual residue. Yes, again, not because the item is cursed in itself, but because the spirit that came with it never left. Their visit wasn't just about them being near you, it was a test of your spiritual gates. And beloved, those gates need to be resealed. Michael says, you must anoint your thresholds, not with routine, but with command. Walk your home, touch every doorknob, place your hand on every wall, and speak aloud what heaven has been whispering. No evil shall pass here. This place belongs to the Lord. I revoke access to every foreign spirit. I seal this home in divine light. This is your territory, your altar, your sanctuary. And what does not belong here must go. Still unsure? Look at your life before they entered and look at it now. What's changed? Your rest, your clarity, your peace? The decline didn't start when your circumstances changed. It started when your atmosphere was compromised, and now heaven is reclaiming it. Michael says, you've stayed quiet long enough. Now let your authority speak. Say it again, this time with fire in your voice. I do not accept the energy of surveillance. I do not welcome the spirit of fear. I revoke access to my time, my body, my home, and my peace. I close every open gate, and I do it now. Beloved, listen to me. This isn't about being paranoid. This is about being prophetic. You are not ordinary. Your life is marked. Your purpose is rare, and your spiritual weight attracts attention. That's why they've been watching. That's why they've been approaching. That's why the enemy wants a footprint inside your walls. But they've stepped too far, and heaven has had enough. What happens next? Expect one final attempt. Expect someone to check in. Expect a sudden message or a casual pop-in, but you'll see it now, you'll feel the tone, you'll sense the shift, and you won't open the door, not this time. Michael says, I have stationed angels at your doorpost. You may not see them, but the one sent to harm you will, and they will tremble because they expected you to stay asleep, but you're wide awake now. And the moment you said enough, heaven began to move. Beloved one, even after they leave, something remains. You may have closed the door. You may have stopped answering their messages. You may have said, I'm done. But the energy, the residue, it doesn't always obey boundaries made in silence, and heaven needs you to understand this truth. Their presence deposited something, and it is still trying to speak. Michael says, words spoken in your space echo in the spirit long after the voice is gone. Not every curse is loud. Not every spiritual assignment comes with shouting. Some come in whispers, wrapped in compliments. Some settle into corners. Some rest on the air itself. And right now, beloved, there is something in your home, in your atmosphere, that is not fully silent. It is lingering, watching, waiting, repeating what was planted. And the only thing it fears is your voice. Let me ask you, have your thoughts been clouded even without cause? Have you been forgetting words in mid-sentence? Do you feel a pressure, especially when praying or declaring truth? These are not ordinary. These are not signs of fatigue. These are the symptoms of a spirit trying to keep you quiet, because it knows if you speak with conviction, you will break its grip. Michael says, "The residue left behind is not stronger than you. It only survives in silence." And so now we go to war. In spirit, this is not a war with fists. This is a war of breath, a war of word, a war of truth, and it begins with a sacred act. Walk your space again, but this time, don't just cleanse, consecrate. There's a difference. Cleansing removes, but consecration replaces. It fills the space with divine purpose. It declares, this is not just clean, this is holy. Here is what heaven asks of you now. Light a candle, not for ritual, but for focus. Open a window, let the old air flee. Speak aloud the following words, not whispered, but with command. This home is not neutral. This home is divine ground. No, spirit shall dwell here, but the Spirit of God. Every shadow that entered through unspoken words is now dismissed. I declare peace, light, clarity, and divine alignment in every room. And after you say this, stand still. You may feel a shift. You may feel tears. You may feel warmth spread through your chest. Do not fear these signs. They are not weakness. They are confirmation. Beloved one, even the walls remember what was spoken within them. And now they will remember what you spoke. Michael says, you have just rewritten the atmosphere. But we are not done yet, because the spirit that tried to remain silent has now been challenged, and like smoke without fire, it must now scatter. Let's go deeper. That strange heaviness you felt when entering one particular room. Yes, that one was not just emotional, it was a sign. There is a reason your peace doesn't flow there. There is a reason your sleep breaks at the same hour. There is a reason you flinch at small sounds you used to ignore, because spiritual residue echoes until it is silenced. And you, child of divine light, have just begun to speak back. Michael says, this next act will seal your victory. Place your hand on the entryway to your home. Speak aloud. No intruder may return. No watcher may linger. No curse may stand. I seal this home with the fire of God's truth. I walk in freedom. I rest in peace. I rise in strength. Say it again. Say it until you feel the shift. Because the atmosphere listens, the residue recoils, and your authority expands. Still wondering why all of this matters? Because heaven is not just removing residue, heaven is preparing a blessing, and that blessing cannot land on contaminated ground. This is why the interruption came before the miracle. This is why confusion came before clarity. This is why you've felt like something has been hovering, because what is destined for you is too precious to be delivered into unrest. Beloved, your blessing, the one you've been praying for, it has already been released. But the enemy tried to delay its arrival by contaminating your space, by silencing your prayers, by dulling your discernment, by clouding your home with unseen interference. But not anymore. Michael says, heaven has heard your voice, the blockage has been lifted, and now you must prepare to receive, not just with open hands, but with a clean atmosphere. Because when peace returns, so will provision, so will strength, so will vision, so will your next instruction. You may begin to notice the air feels lighter, a familiar scent returns, the nightmares stop, your joy starts to rise again. These are the signs that victory has landed. And, beloved one, it landed because you acted. Michael says, the residue spoke, but your spirit answered louder. And now the enemy must flee, but stay vigilant, keep declaring, keep protecting, keep consecrating, because what comes next is sacred. Beloved child of the Most High, you've made it to the final moment, and that is no small thing. Many turned away. Many ignored the signs. Many walked past the whisper, but you stayed, you listened, you responded. And because of that, A final word has been released from heaven, and it's for you, not for everyone, not for the casual viewer, not for the one seeking entertainment. This word is reserved for the one who obeyed until the end. Michael says, "Because you listened, I will now reveal what the enemy feared most. It wasn't your house, it wasn't your possessions, it wasn't your schedule or your patterns. What they feared was your awakening. Because the moment you opened your mouth and said, 'No more,' the spell was broken, the permission they operated under revoked, the gateway they slipped through closed, the information they used rendered useless, because awareness is authority. And now you know, the enemy's final tactic was silence, to make you dismiss your instincts, to make you delay your prayers, to make you doubt the very voice that was trying to protect you. But that tactic failed, because this time you did not fall asleep. This time you saw through it. This time you did not ask permission to rise. You stood up in the spirit, and heaven responded. Beloved, what's coming next is not just peace. It's promotion, not just restoration, but recompensation for what was stolen. Every moment you felt drained, every blessing that was delayed, every night your sleep was disturbed, every whisper of anxiety that tried to nest in your chest, heaven kept record. And now a spiritual exchange has been initiated. Michael says, what was stolen will return with interest, and what was broken will be rebuilt with glory. Yes, the residue was real. Yes, the intruder came close. Yes, the watcher stepped across the line. But now, they've been seen, named, marked, and removed. Their access is cut off, and you, child of purpose, are being shielded like never before. Let me speak this plainly. You are entering a season where heaven will reveal names, in dreams, in sudden memories, in random conversations that aren't random at all. Pay attention, that person who suddenly vanishes from your life. They were not pushed, they were removed. That object that mysteriously goes missing, you didn't lose it. It was lifted because God is cleansing your path. Michael says, this is the divine reset, and you're at the center of it. Your discernment is returning, sharper than before. Your sleep will deepen, safer than before. Your strength will rise, stronger than ever. And the blessing that was hovering, it now has a place to land, because your home has been reclaimed, your voice has been restored, and your purpose has been reignited. Beloved one, in the coming days be alert for 3 signs of confirmation. A message you were not expecting, but deeply needed, a sudden moment of unexplainable peace in the very place that once held tension, a dream in which someone speaks a name and you awaken with clarity. These are not coincidences. These are the marks of divine affirmation. Heaven's final instruction for this battle is simple. Seal what has been opened with praise. Speak joy into the air. Declare hope in the rooms that once held fear. Sing aloud, even if your voice trembles. Because praise is not just gratitude, it is warfare. It tells the unseen, I am not afraid. I am not alone. And I am not going back. Michael says, your obedience shattered the strategy, and now your testimony will silence the accuser. There is someone, yes, someone who has been watching your journey from the shadows. They mocked your silence. They celebrated your exhaustion. They fed lies into the mouth of another. But now, they are exposed. You may not confront them face to face. You may not speak a word, because heaven will do the speaking. Their plans will collapse without your hand. Their influence will fade without your resistance. Their power will evaporate as light increases around you. And this is the promise. You will be restored in the same space you were violated. In that room, peace. At that door, protection. By that bed, deep rest. In that memory, healing. This is not poetic, this is prophetic, because your home is now a sanctuary again. Michael says, I have redrawn the line, and no shadow shall cross it again. If you feel peace entering even now, receive it. If your eyes are welling with tears, That is your spirit responding to truth. If your heart is beating faster, that is your confirmation. You've passed the test, and what's coming next will be worth every battle you didn't understand at the time. So take a deep breath and hear the final words heaven has reserved just for you. You are not a victim. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are my chosen. You are watched over, fought for and known. Say this out loud now. My home is sealed, my voice is restored, my purpose is protected, and my blessing is on its way. This is not just closure, this is commissioning. You are being sent forward with a fire inside you that cannot be extinguished, not by watchers, not by whisperers, not by residue, not by fear. You have survived the spiritual storm. Now you will build from the cleared ground, and heaven is celebrating.